All right, go. Okay, the P200 has a fantastic Sony image module. It gives you 30 times zoom, great for any size room. It's great in low light and has awesome color rendition. On top of that, we have our BirdDog NDI processing engine, which gives you the highest quality pictures at the lowest latency. It's compatible with any NDI device on the planet and just gives you the best outputs. We have our brand new user interface with NDI version 5, which gives you waveforms and vector scopes to make sure you're properly exposed. It also gives you unlimited control as far as color control and using your camera. In addition to this, it sounds strange, but we can do pan, tilt and zoom at the same time. Try some other cameras, they can't all do it. The P200 is a fantastic camera that's got every type of connection you can want, from NDI with power over Ethernet, SDI, HDMI, any control interface. It's got a great big tally on the top. It's a really great camera. How to do with the time? And the cool thing is, for a limited time, if you buy 3 P200s, you get a free PTZ controller.
What's going on, everybody? I am BirdDog John. Thanks for joining us today, and we are going to kick things off here. It is 1 a.m. in Melbourne right now, and that is exactly where I am. Without any further ado, I'd like to welcome Robbie to the show. What's going on, man? All right, let's see. Hey, what's going on, Judson?
Hey, thanks for having me.
I do much more. We are joined with BirdDog Ian, who is at the Capture Summit over in Atlanta. So how's it going, man?
Hot and sweaty.
That's the most important question that our team can ask. Why are you needing this camera?
Now, I haven't tested this thing since it got here. This is something that I'm really excited that NDI did. That's cool. Obviously, there are lots of flavors here, but this is the 4250 line. And our little friend here. Say hello to my little friend. It's brewing in the back of my throat. Based on the recommendation of Senseless, we're going to give a Java Monster a try.
Oh, yeah, Pocky,
We
dude.
got a little Pocky, and
Yes.
I have been putting this off for an age.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
There is a Snacks on Stream mystery box brought to you by my Snacks on Stream manager, Brayton. What's going on, Bugsy?
There you go. What's going on? Balu, good to see you, man.
What's going on, NetHab? Hey, what's going on, Judson? And hey, Kevin, good to see you, man. What's going on, Jeremy? How are you? Thanks for jumping on. Oh, it's all good.
Here we go!
Yep. It's that time again. How's it going, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well. I am BirdDog John, and we are off to the races here again for another 1 hour special. No, it's not a special. It's just 1 hour. Nothing special about it, folks. 1 hour of your NDI questions and answers and all of that good stuff. So we come together as a community. If you got questions, it's a great place to ask them. If you want to learn about the products, it's a great place to be for that too. We do tutorials, we do interviews, we do a whole bunch of stuff on this show, and sometimes I don't plan anything, which is kind of what we're doing today. I'm going to take your live requests. We might jump over to Facebook and see if there are any questions that are posted there online that we can try and walk through and answer. But yeah, today is one of those days that I don't plan on anything. We are, I have already opened the Snacks on Stream drink of the day, which is another Pepsi, which I strongly approve of. But this time it's black cherry cola, and I haven't drank any of it yet, but I had to open it over the sink because we had a little episode a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, where I was going to drink this one. And we were taking it out of the fridge, and it fell and got damaged, but also clearly then was ready to explode. So we didn't go with that one, and I went with the other one, which I forget what it is at this point, vanilla or something. And that one was okay, but I'm looking forward to this one because it's black cherry. And a little known fact about me is that I really enjoy black cherry flavored beverages and candy. So I'm looking forward to this one. Haven't tried it yet, but we'll do that in a few minutes here. I'm going to jump over to the comments section because that is where it's happening. What's going on, Tom? Ahoy. How is it going? And I think, Tom, you are the one to credit with the no audio the new no audio meter that I'm now using from the guy in the UK. I forget what his actual website is, but it's like ndistuff.co.uk or something like that. Anyways, I will show this because I am using it today on the show. And what it is basically is just a little meter that not only shows your NDI signal, which I don't really need, shows your NDI signal, but also shows that you have audio. And if you stop talking or if you mute your audio channel, it starts to scream at you and telling you that there's no audio coming through, because there was an issue about a week ago now where I was yakking away and everybody was like, hey, no audio, no audio, no audio. So yeah, that's where that comes from. Now I'm gonna have to share my screen here to do that, which, oh, that's funny, I took that source away. So let's see what this does to my CPU. Oh yeah, more sagas in the CPU realm as well, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. But okay, so here is that no audio slash meter that's from Zen NDI. And if I mute the audio to the microphone, if I mute the audio to the microphone, it starts showing, oh, I have the playlist going. That's why it cut over. Sorry. Let me kill the playlist. I got to figure this stuff out here. All right. So let me mute the audio and then you'll see it turn. And what you don't hear is there's a beeping in my ear as well as to that is happening. So that's pretty cool. And that's a little tool that I now just run here in the foreground of my vMix setup. And I believe there's also like one that, so you can light this up and get it going. And then there's another app that you can use that's called the No Audio Display. And it is literally just a thing that reiterates what the screen is doing. So briefly, it looks like this. And that no audio, when I stop talking, it goes to low audio because it's detecting that there's some audio. But if I, for some reason, mute myself, and this one you can resize to just be like a green box or, whatever. You can make it really small, but it also stays on the top of all the windows. And so super nice because now I can tell if that's an issue. Now I've also heard rumors that you can do that inside vMix already natively. So I haven't gotten into that yet, but I think Tom is to credit the for sending that item over to me. So that's good stuff. Okay, here we go into it. So I got a bit of a problem where my minis, about 10 of them, won't update their source lists in decode mode or fallback. Some of them have somehow cached this from months ago. Interesting. So this was a feature that was it was worked into the most recent NDI 5 thing because of this caching issue. Do me a favor, open those mini web UIs in incognito mode and then do the refresh list in incognito mode in Chrome. Does that change anything in how that works? Because it will ignore the cache on the website that you currently have. The devices themselves don't cache, but the web UI will. And so it's a bit of a merriment between the two and the MDNS and referencing things. Let me know what that does. P200s on the same network work just fine, no issues. The only difference is pre-LTS and post-LTS firmware. More on that in a minute. Let me think about that. Any help is appreciated. I'm totally expecting one of Tom's comments to say, but hurry it up now, because I was yakking for a long time. I am using Discovery Server. I tried installing it on another machine, but they all show the same thing. Oh, is DS staying updated? Like, interesting. You're using Discovery Server. Interesting. Lip sync seems to be off. Yeah, we had talked about this last time. I'll have to invest. I'll have to look at the stream and see what it sounds and looks like over there. Yeah, you're right. Audio is a little ahead of the game, isn't it? It's not too bad on YouTube, but yeah, maybe 200 or so. Let's get into fixing the audio here in a second. Using Discovery Server, installing this on another machine still shows the same thing. Where new tech tools and P200 work fine, the minis don't. So that's interesting. Yeah, because that means that the MDNS is staying up to date, but the minis don't. I would definitely try that incognito browser and see if it flushes that information for you. Or perhaps trying like redoing the firmware on that on one of the minis and seeing if that doesn't clear it for some reason. That's strange. I've tried clearing the cache, multiple computers. It's not browser cache. Interesting. Yeah, so it's hanging on to those because I know in the latest NDI 5 version of the cameras, when you're doing a failover source, there's a reset button and it actually flushes the cache on there, which may be a hangover from the NDI 4 days. I wonder if that's specifically why they wrote it that way. It's very possible. Thanks for the no audio tip, by the way. Let me think about that. There's got to be a way to force it. Maybe a firmware update on that device would force it. Just be worth experimenting because in theory it would, because it rewrites the entire firmware from start to finish. It doesn't save anything. So if you redid the firmware update, then it should dump all of that information and write a brand new copy onto the Mini's actual onboard memory. So that's a very interesting issue. Hey, it's John. And hey, it's Clay. What's going on, man? Nice to see you. Living and breathing over there. I've actually spoken with Clay here this morning, and so he is alive and doing much better than he was the past 2 weeks or week and a half at this point, which is good news because a little sickness kind of destroyed him the other day. But anyways, but now one of his dogs is not feeling well, so he's going to tend to the dog and continue to be productive at home, which he is. So I'm totally fine with that. The reason this is an issue is using the Crestron API. It also seems to cache the list. Oh, has Crestron updated to the NDI 5 stuff yet? Like the Crestron libraries? I don't know. I don't keep up with them like I should probably, because we've republished. Oh, but not for Mini. Oh, yeah, that's weird. Yeah, this is going to be one of those problems where people like we're moving to NDI 5, but some of the fleet is still in NDI 4. I know that Mini is slated to get the NDI 5 update. I don't know when. Like this is the issue, right? Is that like people have these products that were produced several years ago, and they haven't updated the firmware too. So yeah, this is where we're getting into these integration problems, which need to be addressed. You know, I have an engineering meeting tonight with them, so I may need. I mean, I reiterate this every week that NDI 5 for converters is now pretty much. We need a timetable for that one because of the cross between NDI 5 and NDI 4 on cameras versus converters. But I can try and see what they're thinking about this, and this is a great use case for advocating that we need that to be taken pretty seriously. Which means that I can't select new sources names from the API. I've neuralized and firmware updated. Does sometimes update to the list that comes in the firmware. Which is that's the test machine that they used long ago. Like that machine's 2 years old now. That's a test list that they use over there. But so you do the firmware update and then you re-inquire and it pulls that list again. Because if that's the case, then that list is being cached somewhere on Discovery Server, maybe. But you said you moved Discovery Server to a different machine? Huh. Yeah, I'd have to really like hash this out because this could be a bunch of things. It's pulling the list from somewhere, especially if you redo the firmware and then you refresh the list and it brings the old list back. That's not something I'm familiar with. That shouldn't happen because unless that list is being provided somewhere on the network. Yeah, that's a weird one for sure. Hey, Stream Villain is alive. Yes, he is definitely, for it is I, Stream Villain. Yeah, it's been a while since I've had you on the stream, but partially because you've been crazy busy, partially because I wasn't available, and now you're not available. So we're gonna have to bring you back. You seem to be a fan favorite around here, Senseless. Namaste from India. What's going on, Go Web? Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. I hear you have questions for me since the last show. So yeah, let me know what you got going on. I'd be interested to answer those questions. Missed your last show, but I watched it later. Thank you. Appreciate that. You're one of the views. There's always like a handful of views of people that watch it afterwards. Last Tuesday's show, we did a Netgear 4250 full-on review and installation process, all that good stuff. Basically showed how to take it from brand new, how to do a firmware update, how to log into it, how to connect your computer to it, what you should be doing, how you should be setting it up. I did all of that. And then I sent some highlight clips over to the guys in Australia, to our video team. And so they made them look pretty and put some nice thumbnails on them and put them up on YouTube. So those are now broken up into bite-sized highlights, and they're available on the BirdDog YouTube channel. So if you don't want to watch a 2-hour show and you'd rather watch, it's probably about 30 minutes worth of content. There are 5 videos up there that I basically go through everything that you need to know about the 4250 and how to get it up and running for TCP install. And so there's a part about DHCP servers. There's a part about connecting devices to it and how to test and verify that the devices are working. There's a part about talking about just unboxing and, again, updating the firmware. I hate it when people are like, go to the website and update the firmware. Now let's get going. And it's like, well, hang on, there's a big section there that you just glossed over, which everybody is going to have to do. So in our version of the tutorial, I include that part. But yeah, we definitely went for like 2 hours. So it was a good session. You guys had some great questions, and I'm glad that you were able to watch it later. Go Web, that's good stuff. He is alive. It's true. And hey, we're gonna give this a go right away because it's starting to warm up a little bit. And so let's jump into Snacks on Stream. I also have a mystery box, which I will get into, which was here on Tuesday, but because we did that show, I didn't have any time to do it. So let's do Snacks on Stream now.
John's just making up stuff to start drama.
Look, I don't know.
Look at him.
Wish me luck, folks. It's my first Vegemite experience.
Final, this is like cheese flavor or something. It doesn't really look too appetizing. Good golly, this is something else, man.
Here's the thing about Pop Rocks, and I don't know if I'm the only one like this. Pop Rocks have always been a social experience for me.
I did not think that is what you were going to say. That's hilarious.
That is awful. Oh, God, that's so bad. Jeez. Holy smokes, man.
That final clip, I love that final clip. It makes me smile every single time I watch this video. So great stuff. Welcome to the BirdDog support show. One of the things we do is we just try things, and I had to open this before the show. I haven't drank it yet, but I had to open it before the show because I had to do it over a sink. And I was nervous that when I opened it, it was going to explode because we dropped it last week. So it did not explode on me. And now we're going to give this a try. So this is Pepsi Cola Soda Shop Black Cherry Cola. So let's give this a try, and we'll jump back to the chat here in 2 seconds. It's very medicine-like. I don't hate it though. I actually kind of like it. So it is a little medicine-like though. So okay, so one of the things, this is going to drive me crazy because my brain is thinking about it now. What I watched somebody on here tune me into the show After Hours, Office Hours Global, and they do segments on a lot of different things about streaming, but about technology and about production, whole bunch of stuff. They did a whole section on audio and setting up their microphones, doing all of that. But they talked about how people on streams fill dead space with ums and ahs and all that, right? That's a huge problem for me. If you watch my streams and my highlights, all of that, I use ums and ahs all the time, and it drives me crazy, and it must drive you crazy if you're anything like me. And by highlighting this portion of my my flaws. You're probably going to notice it now from now on for the rest of eternity as long as this show continues. I'm going to do my best not to fill dead space with those meaningless words. But yeah, filler words is a vice of mine that I cannot shake. It's so frustrating. Anyway, they did a great segment the other day on quality microphones and adjusting. They went around the panel and they all adjusted their microphones so that they would get a very even sounding, what sounds better. Unfortunately, I don't really have a panel of people I can ask to do this, but one day I will. And one day I will do a live adjustment of my audio on the stream, and you guys can help me with that. Everyone has filler words. I know. It kills me that I do that sometimes. Just let it be dead space. You don't actually have to fill it. But I can't. It's hard. Very difficult. It is a social experience, Senseless. Aren't you happy that you made that video? That is one of the highlights of that video, is you and I talking about Pop Rocks. Yeah, I really like this. I would buy that for sure. But it does taste like medicine. I relate a lot of things on this show to medicine. The way that like flavored things taste, to me, black cherry and cherry cola, grape things taste like medicine sometimes. Anyways. Okay, Go Web. Here we go. Is there a way I can access the M4250 via my home router? That way I can access 4250 from VLAN 1 and have internet access on 4250. Okay, so is it possible? So here's the question. Okay, the very nature of virtual LANs, right? VLANs, is that the networks are hosted on the same device, but are not talking to one another. Inside at the actual packet level, there are things that are like, I use like as well. There are literal flags, or VLAN tags is what they're called, on the packet that gets sent. And the rule is, that those tags don't interact with each other unless they match. And so when you make VLAN 10, it gets the 10 tag in the VLAN spot of the actual packet. So if you have VLAN 1 and VLAN 10, VLAN 1 is the default, by the way. So anything that's untagged, if you will, is VLAN 1. But if you put a different tag on it, then they don't talk to each other. Now, how do you access the 4250 while you're on a different network? Well, the thing there would be to create, well, there's two things, actually. If you're plugging in the VLAN, I should probably demonstrate this. If you're plugging in this switch to a larger network, okay? So we're going from, let's just say port 10, or let's use the SFP as an example. So we're going to connect our SFP ports together into the greater network. And so numbers 11 and 12, or is it 9 and 10? Anyways, whichever. 11 and 12, let's say there are SFP ports. We're going to connect port 12 to an SFP port that's on VLAN 1 down the line, okay? Your switch that you've connected to port 12, this 4250 that you're trying to access VLAN 10 on, will get an IP address from your VLAN 1 because it's connected via fiber out of port 12 into whatever port on VLAN 1 down the network, okay? So you're going to get a IP address for that switch. Now, if your sophisticated network is designed this way, you can actually tell the DHCP service that when it finds that switch with the MAC address, to assign it a particular number. So DHCP reservations, there's a video on that. And I think I'm one of the only in the world on YouTube world, that demonstrates how to do DHCP reservations on a 4250, by the way. Don't worry, the flood is coming. There'll be lots of tutorials, but I think I'm one of the only. So you can take the MAC address, register that in the DHCP reservation list, and then assign it an IP address on the VLAN 1. Okay. That way, you would then, on VLAN 1, log into a web UI using that IP address, just like we did in the video that it showed. Just like we did in the video that it shows me assigning an IP address for the VLAN, for the root of the VLAN. So I believe in the demonstration, it was 192.168.85.1. Okay, that's what I set it at. Then when I plugged my computer into that DHCP and I got an 85 address, I went to the web UI and typed in 192.168.85.1, and it took me to the web UI of the 4250. Same thing goes here, where if VLAN 1 assigns a VLAN 1 address to this switch, you can use that address to access the web UI on VLAN 1 and manipulate the settings on that switch. Here's a good example. In my office, let's actually actualize this example. In my office, there is a switch on the floor. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell any networking people that still somewhat respect me. There's a networking switch on the floor. It's a 4250. It's a 4212P switch. Okay, so it's their base level 12 port. The one that actually I demonstrated on the show. It's a different one, but it's the same brand, same model. That switch has an IP address assigned to it as 192.168.1.60. But I assigned that in the greater network that's happening over there in the headroom of the network. So I have a network that I manage. And when this switch came online, I gave it a fixed IP address. So that's Ubiquity language. But I gave it an IP address in the DHCP. And every time that switch turns on, it doesn't actually turn off, but every time I turn it on, it gets that same IP address. But if I want to access that switch in particular, anywhere on my big network, I go to the IP address of 1.60, and that's that switch. So that's how now on that switch, I have VLANs for testing, and I have other things and other networks that are configured, but I can change all those settings at 1.60 at my computer in my office, or at this computer, which is on the 1, or whatever. So that's how that's done. I don't know if that answered your question at all. I kind of went down a few rabbit holes. I hope that I hit something of relevance for you. Oh, yeah, I learned that everyone has filler words from G.I. Joe. Retaliation. I would buy. I like casually drinking medicine. It's true. I would buy it again. I didn't actually buy this one. The dang. The gosh darn it. This was given to me by Balu, and that's pretty generous of him. Man, that's going to drive me nuts. Them Flintstone gummies. Eat them like they're regular ones, but they're good for you. All right. It is a little medicine-y, but it's pretty good. I also have a mystery box, which I can open up here on the show if you'd like. Let's stop the playlist real quick. And, oh yeah, we got to talk about my setup. It's changed here recently. Whoops. Not that one. Whew, that's a blurry image. So I have this on low bandwidth because of CPU usage on my machine, but it's fine. It's just an overview shot, so I'm not too concerned about that. Anyways, inside our mystery box, we have, oh dear. Oh, what is that? Tanashi something. I don't know. This is something cream. How long can cream last inside a box like this? And what is this? A milk chocolate style bar. It's like, oh, made in Mexico. Oh dear. All right. Well, these all look promising. Let's see if they liquefy my insides. You just never know on this show. You just never know. All right. Well, thank you, Snacks on Stream Manager. I appreciate that. Here we go. VLAN tags only appear in packets through a trunk port. Any port that is hard set to a single VLAN will not see the tag, and for all intents and purposes, I think it's all on VLAN 1. Yeah, okay, so if we want to talk about how it actually travels, yes. So when we start talking about trunking, and we start talking about the differences between how the packets get around the network. So trunks are the things that basically it's a tunnel, not a tunnel. Tunnel's also a networking term, but it's basically a pipe that all the VLANs can travel down, and they have their VLAN tags on them. And so on the other side, the rest of the network understands kind of what, let's say, what ports or what computers or what devices these are supposed to go to or belong to, keeping things virtually separated. There were several different philosophies in how this should be done, and this is why I always advocate that networks are unique to the person who designed them, and not there's not like some sort of overarching, this is how it should always be done. There are people out there that believe that sort of philosophy exists, but if we're honest, people design them however they want to design them. You witnessed me doing that the other day on the 4250 and how I design them. There are various ways of setting up a network. There are good ways and bad ways and better ways. And so we try and give you as many options as possible to set up your network. And there are some people that will scoff at the way that you do it because, obviously theirs is better for some reason. But there are lots of ways of setting them up. And you can see this demonstrated in how networking companies design their user interfaces, how they design their switches or their routers, and all of that. Their philosophies go into that, and then the people that buy those products, their philosophies get applied to how networks should be designed. And then you have manufacturers like BirdDog or Dante or NDI or NewTek or PTZ Optics or whatever, and they come out with their expectations or not. And so maybe they say things like, it just works. You all know how I feel about that. So there are different philosophies applied on top of that. And so then when you get a show like this and people say, how should I set up my network? It's kind of like, where do I begin? Because like who are you as a network designer? Are you a network admin at all? Like, do you understand the basic concepts? Do you need to be trained from start to finish? Have you been doing this for 50 years and you outclass me? Tell me more about what you mean by how should I design it. Are you saying, how do I get the best performance out of my network? Or how do I design this for a network that I don't want to have to invest in? Or how do I design a network from the ground up because I don't have any experience? Or how do I design a network for NDI when it's parallel to Dante? Or you get it? Like there's a ton of there is a ton of conversation that we have to have when you just say, how should I set up my network? So this goes into the education module. I mean, it's basically philosophy, our philosophy on how to do the network. And that's all the 4250 discussion was. You can watch those videos and throw them away. You do not have to follow them. It's just how it's just how John sees it working well and consistently, especially in a TCP environment. If we start talking about multicast, that's a little bit different. So we need to talk specifically about multicast. That's more of an advanced design. There's various things that I did again. There's various ways of designing your network, but the key things are you in compliance with the manufacturer's recommendations? Does the manufacturer even have recommendations? And are you setting it up for best performance, or are you setting it up for economical reasons, or are you setting it up for, like, tell us a little bit about your philosophy, and then we can go down those roads. In my rack, along with the 4250 on DHCP, I have another Netgear unmanaged switch connected to my home network via another router in between. Whoa. That second router gives IP addresses to the 4250 and all other devices connected to the network rack. I have 4 Raspberry Pis doing different things in the same rack. That's cool. So the router is managing the network, not the DHCP on the layer 3 4250. That's what I'm reading there, because you have other devices behind the scenes. I mean, it's kind of what's happening here in my office. I have a Ubiquity backbone, mostly because that's what we bought 3 years ago and never replaced. And so the Ubiquity system runs all our VoIP phones. It runs a bunch of stuff. It also runs all the ports on our walls. And then in anywhere that we have testing or live production or anything like that, we're using 4250s in those zones, but those IP addresses are being issued from the Ubiquity gateway. So it's a similar design to mine. What I want to have is to avoid confusion at client location, finding IP addresses of all of my devices. So a router in the rack solves all of those problems. Depends on how you want to use that, because you could just set up a VLAN on your 4250. And if you have 8 devices or let's say 5 devices, you take the 4250 to your client's location, you only plug into those 5 ports and let the DHCP run on that VLAN, like I had demonstrated on Tuesday, and it will just always issue the same IP addresses to that group of 5 devices inside that VLAN, and you never have to worry about customers seeing anything outside of that, because you're only going to use those specific ports, which are isolated and self-managed. But, again, philosophy, right? What do you think? Hey, John, I'm curious, will there ever be an NDI 5 update for the encoders, in particular flex in and backpacks? Yes. Do I have to be more specific? Yes, there will be an NDI 5 update for encoders and decoders. The fleet, the big ones that are out right now are 4K Family and Flex. But remember, we have dashboard. Remember, they all have a dashboard. Remember, we have wall plate is what I was trying to think of, and Play, which already has NDI 5, the dashboard for it running on it. So that would be good examples of that happening. But yes, NDI 5 is coming for those. The whole fleet's going to NDI 5. So that's definitely happening. Studio and Mini are also, according to Dan on Facebook, our owner, Studio Mini are also planning to get NDI 5. I just don't know a timeline. I can't tell you when that's going to happen because, first of all, I'm not an engineer and I'm not writing the software. So I really don't know what sort of challenges they're dealing with every day. But second of all, they're pretty much inventing it as they go, because the SDK provides a fair bit of framework, but not necessarily for the FPGA process. And so we have to set it all, like we take the framework, we get it all situated, and then we've got to do all the BirdDog programming and everything. So that takes a lot of time. I know they're working on multiple things, but this is one of the major projects. NDI 5 in general was a major project. So the launch of the public firmware 6.4 for the cameras was a major deal, at least internally. Should have been a major deal for you too, because that's a big leap forward in our technology. So yes, that is the plan. Just to go back to the topic of Crestron, there are definitely some improvements needed for the modules provided. API version 2 aside, the way it works is very specific to the GUI you guys provide. I'm happy to give some feedback. Actually, I'd like you to give feedback to Crestron, because they're the ones that designed the module, not us. So that was sourced, that was third-party produced, not internal with BirdDog. So they adapted our web UIs and GUIs with their protocol. I don't know if it was Crestron directly or if it was a third-party programmer that made it for us, and we were like, okay, there you go, everybody. So that's how that works. Same thing with Extron integration. That's all done third-party. It is not BirdDog made. So we'd need to get whoever that engineer was, if they want to do it again for the next version of the API, we'd have to get them back on board to get that working as you would expect. It'd be great to have your feedback, but we don't do it internally. That's what I'm saying. I'll email a detailed network diagram for your review. Wow, you trust me with that, eh? All right, that's totally fine. I'm happy to hear that. You'll notice that I'm dressed all in black again. I know that there was somebody was a bit surprised the other day that I was wearing a button down that was not all black. But yeah, I'm back to my routine. That's a shame. I only hear that as Jerry Seinfeld saying that's a shame. It is and it isn't. I mean, it's a bandwidth issue, right? Like we don't have the time. If we could totally add it to our list of things to do, but I don't know how high up on the priority list compared to NDI 5, Silicon 2, all those projects, and all the stuff that the guys are working on that isn't publicized, all those things too. it's a limited team, so it's limited time. We have to outsource not a lot of it. We have to outsource some of those things and this integration stuff with the actual Crestron, Extron. What's the other one out there? QSys. It's all outsourced. It's not done internally. In the meantime, are there any challenges with running NDI5 cameras on the same network as LTS encoders, say to a vMix machine with the latest NDI5 tools loaded? So all these cameras that you see on this show are all NDI5. They're all running the latest 6.4, including the P100 that's above me, which has stopped dropping frames, which is great. I kind of believe that was a networking problem as well. So we've sorted some of that out. And networking problem actually with the computer, not with the cameras or the switch for that matter. I had an issue with the NIC cards on this machine. The built-in ones seem to top out somewhere in like the 400, 500 realm. Ouch. This thing hurts every once in a while. All right. So, yeah, I was topping out. I was using 2 or 3 plugs to get, like 2 or 3 Ethernet jacks to get this thing working correctly. And I just switched over to gigabit fiber and everything is now humming along just nicely. So I am running vMix with NDI5 and all my cameras are running NDI5 and they seem to be functional just fine. I also do bring in flexes. Particularly, I have a flex backpack that I use to capture a iPad screen every now and then. Not for this show, but for other things. That does not seem to be an issue for vMix and what have you. So that's all good there. Another request where you can show how to control different BirdDog cameras and converters with Stream Deck over Companion. Oh, that's easy because I do that already, actually. So, yeah, we can jump into that if that's something we want to talk about. Let me pull up. One additional change that you could all be aware of is that I am using, if I cut to this, playlist. If I cut to this, just off camera right here, this little black box that's up here, that is now a USB switcher between my keyboard for my 2 computers. And so now if I just want to use this machine, I just press the little button and I hear it in my ear and it goes over here to vMix. And then if I need to use the Mac, I just press this button and now I'm over here and I only need 1 keyboard. And it was $10, which is the ultimate for me. The $10 purchase was way better than I was going to buy one of those Logitech keyboards that's like $180 and you can plug it into two devices and use them simultaneously. Yeah, $10 was more attractive to me at the time of purchase. And so that's what I went with. Anyways, pretty excited about that because now I can just jump between these 2 computers and not have to monkey around with 2 keyboards and mice. Now it's just a single thing and it's pretty simple. It's as if you plug in a USB device to the PC and so it dings. It does the Windows USB device connected sound every time and disconnect sound. But I don't care about that. Actually, it's helpful because then I know which screen it's on. So that's also pretty cool. But yeah, let me stop the playlist. Let me stop the playlist here and I'm going to just toss up. I don't have the picture-in-picture on this. All right, let me get Companion fired up here. Select a web launch the. Oh, whoops. Oh, interesting. It dumped. It dumped it. Okay, here we go. Launch. And this will be up here. All right, so this is actually a pretty straightforward process with Companion. You definitely want to configure a specific page, but let's cut over to this real quick. The first thing we want to do is create an instance, and we're basically going to add by manufacturer. If you're running the latest version, there's a couple of BirdDog options in here. One is for the actual Studio and Mini. They call it Studio NDI, which is not its official name, but anyways. But this one is the Visca commands, and that's for all the cameras. And so we can add a camera there. It's going to give us this stuff here. We can say edit, put in the target IP address, and hit apply. It's going to then go back to instances. It's going to check this and make sure that it actually shows up correctly. I should also verify that it actually is at that address because I don't quite know. So let's double check that. Yoink. They shouldn't have changed, but you never know. You never know. I don't use the DHCP reservation list on this. Okay, so 1.23 is correct. So let's go back now and just verify. Yep, 1.23, apply. All right, and then I believe if I just refresh this, it should eventually see it. But I think maybe I got to leave that. Anyway, so then we can say, jump over to our buttons and everything. And I'm going to call this page 2 because that's where I'm at. And I'm using page 1 for other things. And I'm using page, am I using, maybe that's page 99. Let's find out. Okay, so depending on which Stream Deck you have or which companion app, and there's also a emulator in here, and so there's that option as well, which is kind of nice. Where is that actually? Is that, it used to be in here. Oh, hey, and there's an update for this that I haven't done yet. It's here on the side, right? Yeah, emulator. So this gives you a fake giant Stream Deck, so you can see what it's going to look like, but you can also fire these commands from here. So that's kind of helpful. So let's go ahead and set up. I'm going to set up page 99 here, and I want to pick my 200. So we're going to select that, and then I'm going to select my functions. So I want to control this in various ways. And so let's, it's not actually adding it there, so that's fine. I know I'm going to need left, right, up, down. I'm going to need probably some zooming as well. So let's go ahead and do lens changes. Let's say zoom in, zoom out. Okay, so this is for this P200. Now the moment of truth. Did it work? Okay, so the emulator shows it updates automatically. It's pulling from, obviously, the API. And if I press these buttons, that seems to call those just fine without any issue. So, of course, you can't see my camera moving around because I didn't do picture-in-picture. So let's fix that. Sorry, everybody. One moment, please. Let's just edit this real quick. Oh, and you know what? I'll just cut back to me for a second. Okay, so bear with me while I update this. I thought I had this before, but evidently not. Oh, let's do this one. And P200, say add. All right, so now let's go back. So now we're back to this screen. Hey, everybody. Oh, and I got to get rid of Mr. GoWeb's question. Yeah, he has both the 15 and the 32. So here we go. So now you can see my camera functioning and all that sort of good stuff. So let's go over here now. And if I steer things around using this, seems to be functioning as expected. We could also then, of course, program this to do preset recall, which is really what we want because presets are fun. Also helps you get back to home if you ever have an issue. So recall preset, we can drop a few of these into this area. So let's put a few here. Preset recall 1, 2, and 3. And these are all for this specific camera. So if you have multiple cameras, you're going to want to label these a little better, which you can do inside here. But for my instance, I'm not going to do that. So now if I reset recall preset 1, there it is. If I just need to tap this over a little bit, I think that looks pretty good on my screen. So obviously, you can also set up how the speed command. So if you want to slow it down a bit, the pan tilt speeds, you can add those buttons on here. And what I do, I have a congregation that I help on the weekend sometimes, and on their Stream Deck they have the 15 button one. I just carbon copy this, but for every camera, and so then I just label over here the camera number. So cam 1, cam 2, or whatever. I delete this button. And I just make it a title basically, and just say cam 1, cam 2, and then you can just cycle between the two, or different shot names, like you could say, center camera, left camera, whatever you want to do. So that's always cool. Hopefully is that something along the lines of what you were wanting to see there, GoWeb? That's how I set it up. It's actually really fast, and then those options show up then on your Stream Deck. The emulator shows it, but you can also then send it over to Stream Deck, and you got to open. Do you have to open Stream Deck? I can't remember how you bring it over there, but that's how it's done. So you have a fiber PCIe NIC for vMix PC to fix the the P110 frame drop. So I was having frame drops on all my cameras, and the frame drop issue that I was really having was the 100, which was up here. It was running a beta firmware at the time, so there was lots of things potentially causing the issue. Upgraded that one to 6.4, made sure the baseboard was done correctly. I moved my entire fleet over to, yes, I have actually dual fiber SFP plus LC connections to the switch that's running down there. And that has somehow seemed to quiet things down, because when I was coming over via copper, I was doing Ethernet, and I had to use 3 separate connections to get enough bandwidth to come into the computer fast enough. If I was down to 2, I would still get a substantial frame drop. So I had a little bit of a saga with the computer yesterday, but maybe that's for another time. Could you talk at all about the runaway PTZ issues people are talking about? I've only seen it when it went on Wi-Fi and VPN. I know double damage. It's really an issue. Is this really an issue in NDI 5 firmware? So no, I have had actually 0 runaway issues with the NDI 5 stuff in my fleet here and off-site. So that is not an inherent NDI problem, NDI 5 problem that I know of. However, I do know long ago we discovered that when you have a device on your network that sends commands into the abyss, that tends to be a symptom of that. So you said that you've seen it when you're on Wi-Fi. That's exactly what we discovered, actually. We discovered that Wi-Fi, because broadcast requests can go into a Wi-Fi router and never get a return request. And that seems to hang up the actual network request to move the camera. I'm not 100% sure, but it seems to me that that's really consistent, that you get runaway cameras. We were having this issue in NDI 4.0 when we first launched 4.0, and finding that, oh, well, I have a Wi-Fi router on here as well, so I can add my HX camera, my HX phone app to the network. And the problem would be fixed if they would connect a Lightning to Ethernet connector and hardline in, but it kind of defeats the purpose of having wireless HX app running. But yeah, that runaway thing, we noticed it there. VPNs, it may just be taking too long for the reply to come back, which, again, we would notice that when you send a command, either over Studio Monitor or keyboard, you'd send a command to a camera to move, and then you let go, the stop command would not arrive. And it's because it's being sent out, it's getting lost somewhere and not going to the correct place. Another place I saw it was unmanaged networks, but there's lots to talk about there. I don't know it to be an inherent issue with NDI 5. Now, Senseless is here. He might be able to chime in and say, yes, I see lots of tickets about this, or no, but this is not something that has come up to my knowledge that's needed to be escalated to engineers. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps I need to take my head out of the sand. I don't know. P100. Yeah, the 100 is this guy. And that seems to have helped a fair bit. The CPU usage on this machine. So yesterday I discovered that putting the CPU into performance mode maxes out the CPU and basically makes it non-performance mode. So I took that back and I had to restart some management services that were basically shut off because of that performance mode option. And now I'm functioning in the 50s, which is where vMix likes to camp out. It really says don't go higher than 60% on the CPU or upgrade your computer. So I'm right around 50, 60% right now, and that seems to be working pretty well. So I don't know if that means anything, but I'm getting a lot less frame drops, especially since I moved my network data over to those fiber ports. Now we're humming along just fine. Matter of fact, I've been told that I have an audio synchronization issue, probably about 200 milliseconds. So I should change that. Just haven't gotten into it yet. It's almost as if the video is ahead of the game, but that is to be seen still. I'll fight that one day, I guess. Maybe that day is today. Who knows? Master Chief has a message.
5 minutes remaining.
We are officially to the end of the actual show. We have 5 minutes to go, but of course I always go over, so whatever. So thanks, Master Chief. I really appreciate it. Okay, back to the comments. Whoa, you guys are chatting like crazy. I think that I saw that on the Facebook reel. So in somewhere in the network or the Facebook chat. I believe it. I believe that's where it is. But I've seen the runaway, and my clients also make sure. I know I've seen the runaway, and my clients also make sure and let me know. With older versions, it's mainly happened when zooming out while doing pans. So what it is, what we've seen it officially is that the stop command doesn't go. So when you do, for example, pan and tilt at the same time, right? In real time, what's happening is packets are going from your keyboard to the device over and over and over and over and over and over. Because I have a keyboard here, as you change the value of that joystick, okay, you increase it like this, the value that's being told, the camera is being told, has to increase. Okay, so it's not an electrical signal like it used to be when we used to control cameras over Pelco systems. It's not increased voltage. It's a TCP or UDP in this instance. It's a UDP packet that says, now move this fast, now move this fast, now move this fast. And it keeps sending these commands. It's not a two-way street. It's a one-way street for speed reasons, but also, so UDP, but also in those packets, it's telling the camera in what direction and at what speed to go. And so if you let go, or if you stop moving, the packets are the actual the stop packet that goes, and then it stops sending packets to that camera, isn't arriving. And so the camera still thinks it needs to be moving in that direction. It doesn't get that last command to stop. So that is, as I understand it, as the engineers have explained it to me, that's what's happening. That's literally what's happening. Is so if you get runaway cameras, it means that the packet to stop the movement did not arrive at the camera to stop it. I don't know if that helps troubleshoot anybody, or if it just makes it more confusing, but there it is. It's almost like the NDI protocol says start this way at this speed, and the packet says stop, doesn't get through. Very UDP-esque behavior. That's literally what I just said. I didn't even read what you said, Tom, but that's literally what's happening, yes. I haven't gotten a chance to update and run the test with the latest firmware. To me, it felt like the zoom-based speed correction has steps. So when it's at a zoom tight with speed of X and then gets to the next step mid-zoom, it's like doubled. No, I don't believe that that's the way it's written, but I'd be happy to ask again for you. I'm going to talk to the engineers today. Is there a way that I can control the speed of a preset change? I'm looking for a way for the camera to move slowly from one preset to another, kind of a smooth transition. So the only way to do that is to set the speed threshold. So you set the threshold of the speed of the camera, but that's basically then locked in at that speed. It doesn't change per preset. You can set the threshold of the camera and then call presets that way, but you can't set. And I don't know if you call presets with the threshold on, it may still do at full speed. I'm not 100% sure. I guess we could try that out. But yeah, definitely the only way to do it there's not cruise control built into the preset commands. That's what that is. Cruise control essentially is calling a preset and it executing a speed and a path. I mean, that's kind of what camera director is, right? But a speed and a path to that location based on what preset gets recalled, not based on the threshold of the camera. So you could do some preset recall speeds, but on the camera global level, not the preset level. Boom, there it is. Sherman knows the answer. I should just read the next message because you guys answer it right away. Any kind of intro shot where camera zooms in slowly to a preset. I see. That could be achieved. Could that be achieved in vMix? Could vMix do the reset? Because vMix saves the presets locally, right? They don't save them on the camera. So potentially vMix might have some sort of cruise control option. I'm not sure, though. I don't know. We'd have to ask Tom. You can set slow and do zoom manual and then reset to normal speed in companion. There you go. Hey, thanks for the runaway feedback comment. Thanks, John, for the runaway feedback. You are welcome. Of course, Sherman. Anything for you, man. I do not see this. No, I haven't had this brought up in terms of the runaway comment. So this is senseless. He would be the guy to know. That doesn't mean that it's not a potential problem. It's just that we don't have any other reports of this happening at this time. I agree. It's not NDI 5 related. I've seen it a lot in NDI 4, and I think it's attribution bias. Or it's arriving out of order because, again, UDP, not TCP, and there are no sync numbers. It's very possible. Very possible. I wonder how multicast would behave off the keyboard. I have to do some testing because then we at least initiate the the network to guarantee the packets arrive at in time and sequence, and at least that would be some sort of checks and balance. But I'd have to fire up a keyboard and see if that was even an option in NDI 4, and should ask them about keyboard, the next update for keyboard, if it's going to include those items. We'll have to see. Presets move with the speed threshold set. Can confirm. Thank you, Tom. Yes, vMix has a preset recall speed. Boom. Well, GoWeb's using vMix, I believe. So there's an option, maybe. Hey, GoWeb, if you want to do specific smooth motion presets, look at Scarhoy controllers. Okay, you heard it here. I can't speak for or against Scarhoy. I do know their engineers are really nice guys. Know that for a fact. But again, a global setting, but it's easy to change. So setting speed to slow and then recalling presets on the same companion button with delays. Tom Thanks. Not to be confused with Tom Hanks. Yeah, but I don't think that there's an API call for this looking at the document. Second to Scarhoy for advanced preset recall, cruise control, or motion paths, maybe in the future from BirdDog Cam Director. Yes, Cam Director is supposed to be able to allow you to recall presets and sequences with different speeds. That's a part of the idea, at least. That's what we showcased at NAB, at least. So I hope that's planned. Seems like I have to do some more tests with Companion. As is all things with open source products, you probably have to do more testing. So do we. But let us know what you find out. If you discover anything, come back on Tuesday and let us know. Not bad. All right, let's try some of these weirdo things that Mr. Brayton dropped off. Oh, there are 2 cookies in here. And there's something in between these crackers. That's always gives you a vote of confidence. We don't know what it is. Oh gosh. I shouldn't have done that. Okay. I opened it. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a sweet, like icing or something. The crackers are good too. Approved. Would eat again. Ichigo cream. Whatever that is. Hey, John. Yes, Tom. Can we make a feature request, API 2.1? Oh boy, 2.1. Include a way to set the preset recall speed globally and a way to call a preset at a specific speed. So the second request probably would be like 2.2, but I think to set the preset speed with an API command, that's possible because we already do that. Huh, that's interesting. Hold, please. What am I doing here? Hang on 1 second. Let me fire up. Uh-oh. vMix machines. 80%. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's talk about my setup real quick while I have a second, and I'm doing this. So my new little USB switcher, $10. It was great. I'm running that now, 1 keyboard and that. That's been a change. I am also running 2 computers, which if you've been watching the show a little bit now, I'm using 2 machines, one to run vMix and one to actually go up to StreamYard. But also, this computer is, I'm doing a lot of my video editing on it and whatever now. So I'm using the trusty, dusty Resolve, DaVinci Resolve from Blackmagic. Oh yeah, my chair changed. The NDI audio monitor was like, hey, you're not talking. So my chair changed because I didn't really have one in here. And on Tuesday, I was using my office chair. So BirdDog Brayton got a new chair in his office. He actually bought one and gave me his. Well, this one, the thing like compresses on its own. And so during the course of the show, you'll see me slowly going down. I just need to buy a new one, I guess. But anyways, so that's this chair is a little different. I've got 2 machines using DaVinci Resolve to do some of the video editing stuff. So I've got 3 screens, one of them on the Mac, 2 of them running this computer, the vMix machine, so I can share the desktop. And then lastly, I have a BirdDog Play that's on the screen in front of me that's running traditionally. It's running a multi-viewer out of vMix, which seems to be functioning just fine. But today I've just got it on the P200 so that I can see actually I've got it on output. Hang on, hold that forward. Yeah, so I've got it just on the P200, and that way I can just make sure that I'm kind of centered and not having an issue. Now, it obviously the stream that's going to StreamYard and the stream that's coming out of vMix is faster than the Play, right? And I've got it on an old screen too, so there's probably latency being added there. And so I do see things. It's weird because the program window in vMix is over here, and I can see kind of like what's coming next. So vMix is up and running, and then I can see StreamYard, and I can see my face over there too, and then I can see my face on this screen that's here in the middle, and these two move together, and this one's just slightly behind it, like to the point where if I move things around, like I move my head like that, I can't catch up. It's one turn behind. So I don't know what the latency results are yet on this latest firmware. I will say that if you're using this for signage or you're using this to send out on campuses, you're just slapping on a TV and timing is not of the utmost importance. Play is going to sell like crazy because it's faster than HX. So full NDI going to Play is faster than HX decode. So giddy up. Pretty stinking happy with the way that that's turned out. And when I fixed my networking issues out of this computer from vMix, now I'm doing fiber over to that switch. The drops that I was having on the first day that I showcased this, which was a week ago today. Whoa, that week went fast. A week ago today, we talked about Play because they launched it. Or was it a week or a week and a half ago now? Was it the Tuesday show? Anyway, whatever. When we talked about it, I was having some networking problems and it was kind of dropping frames. And I was like, this is strange that it's doing that. We'll come to find out it was this machine that was causing all those problems. And once I got this thing piped through back to that switch at 2 gigs, boom, everything's calmed down. So the Play is moving perfectly. It looks beautiful. I'm really excited for you guys to get your hands on these things because it is stinking great. It's really cool. Gosh, I can't wait for you guys to have them. So good times, great oldies. Okay, what was I doing? I was telling my team about your request for API 2.1. Hang on one second. All right, there we go. I'm not sure if my buddy Pav is online. He has been getting ready to move or something. Anyways, that dude is always on the move. But he is one of the geniuses behind making sure stuff is rock solid these days when we launch it. And so he's a busy guy. So anyways, send that over to them and see what he thinks about that. A great suggestion. I will send that directly to an engineer and he'll let us know if it's at all possible or not at all. So it's good stuff. Oh, I'm not using vMix. I'm using all hardware. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were up on vMix. Maybe that was someone else. It's basically all that Go Web Technology needs to make Companion do what he's asking. I would agree. So let's see if it's something that we can make happen. I mean, the preset speed is something that we haven't really worked into any of our products yet, right? So, well, I need to straighten those out. The preset recall speed is not something that we've been able to like get on board each individual camera. It's something that we've worked into Camera Director, but not into the cameras yet. But we can already change the speed preset, the speed threshold. And so in theory, you could set a whole row of buttons. That's like speed, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, right? All the way across. And that would be cool because then you could just say, before you call a preset, you could punch like 60% preset 2, and then it would move at that speed. Huh. Yeah, great suggestion. See, this is why we have this show, because you guys got good ideas out there. It's good times. Hey, anybody joining us over on Facebook, thank you for liking the show over there. That's fun. If you we got to keep eating these things because it's like we're still going. So this is also, oh gosh, what is this? This looks like some sort of like fig or something. All right, so we're gonna try this. This does not look like food. Oh gosh, I think it's a fig. Oh gosh. What is that? I'm gonna have to Google Translate that because that was not good. Whew. All right, let's go with this Mexico chocolate thing that Carlos, either Carlos V or Carlos 5. It's made by Nestle or Nestle, or however you want to say it. Yo, check that out. Okay. So it's a little shady. Looks like maybe it's traveled a little way. It smells like dark chocolate is what it smells like. It's just a straight up chocolate bar. Milk chocolate, by the way. Not dark chocolate. I love how it says milk chocolate style. Like in the style of a milk chocolate bar. But what is it? It's got a good solid. Yeah, that's really good. I approve. Or you could just have a companion button. Do two things. Can you write two APIs on a companion button? Configure this button. Configure. Set button type. Oh, do I need to select like raw API commands for this as an instance? I may have to do that. No, stop. Don't talk. Oh, that's cool. Well, I'm going to have to play around with Companion a little more because it sounds like it's something we need to dive into. But I'm really loving this jumping between two computers with one mouse and keyboard and just pressing a button to make that happen. It's a lifesaver, man. I need to start getting rid of some stuff in this office because it's starting to get cluttered. Although the guys did a beautiful job cleaning up our storage in here. So it's all on me to make that happen. Okay, so we run this show twice a week, Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to 12. And the reason why we do this is we like to try and be live and available for you to come and ask your questions, come hang out with us, get to know us a little bit. Some days I have interviews. Some days I have other things, tutorials. We do snacks on stream. We do silly things like that. All good. I just want you guys to come hang out with us for an hour or two and bring your questions, have an opportunity to talk to us. We're definitely real people, like we love to get people to interact with us and realize that we're not just a bunch of minions over here that are hiding behind keyboards and typing, to tickets. We actually are living and breathing and have families and lives and all that sort of good stuff too. So a little bit of this is to humanize the support element of BirdDog. It can be really easy to dehumanize a support department, because generally they have to give you the bad news sometimes, and that's never fun. And so we want to be available. We want to be sure that there's an opportunity for you to come in, ask your questions, feel like you belong, feel like we care about you, and we definitely do. It's not just a feeling. We want you to have a great experience and a great successful install with NDI stuff. It's new for everybody, and so it's okay to not know. It's okay for us to not know. To be honest with you, it's okay for support to not know. We'll find out the answer, whatever it is. If I don't know, I will not jerk you around. I won't say some sort of bogus answer that's not true, because all that's going to do is create distrust in the community, and that's not what I want to do. So if I don't know, I will say, I don't know, and we'll find out, and that will be the goal. And I'll send a message off to my engineers if things are possible or whatever we need to do. So I am the head of support. That's one of my titles now. So if you need support, if you need to talk about the products, if you want to talk about what the products can do, if you want to see a product demonstrated, I've got almost every camera. I don't have a P4K in here, but there's about 20 of them in Brayton's office for now. We would like to have an opportunity to show you guys how to use this stuff. I'm going to talk about why it is that we recommend the things that we do, the way to design things the way that we do. Want to give an opportunity for you to send ideas over to us, but also to give me ideas as to better ways to do things in the world too, because quite honestly, I have come to conclusions about the NDI world because I just do it every single day. And that's what I do for a living. It's how I make money. And so that is, after rigorous testing and trying and talking with engineers and all of this sort of good stuff, we come to our own conclusions to try and figure out what's best for the customer. And so that is what we're up to over here. And that's why I'm online twice a week. I've actually thought about increasing the number of shows, but given the workload that we currently have, I think a couple times a week is probably realistic. But yeah, beyond submitting tickets, because that is what we can manage right now, is having a ticketing system where people can send us questions and we can respond. We try and respond within a couple of days. We don't always hit that benchmark, but that is really our goal. And most of the time we exceed that goal. So if you submit a ticket, you'll hear from us. That is our goal, is to be able to respond to you. And if the ticket doesn't need to go directly to Clay, who's the ticketing agent as of today, it will go to the correct person in line. So it needs to come to me, or it needs to go to inspections, or it needs to go to repairs. Whatever we need to do, we'll try and figure that out for you. And we have back channels to other people in the company too. So if you need to chat with somebody in support, we try and be as available as possible. We work 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, here in the Eastern Time Zone in Michigan. And that is we try 9 to 5. So maybe 9 to 4 on Fridays, but 9 to 5 as much as we possibly can. Try and be available. And full disclosure, Clay works some crazy hours because he has a crazy life right now. So sometimes he's not on till a little bit later in the morning, but then he works into the evening. Sometimes he works a regular 9 to 5. I guarantee you he won't be logging in super early. That's Brayton. Brayton's here before the rest of us are. But no, they're all hardworking guys, and they will definitely try and get back to you as quick as they can. So feel free to reach out to us at any time over at help@birddog.tv, or right here on this show at birddogjohn.tv. We can give you a hand with whatever it is that you got going on. What else? What else should we cover? We should talk about these guys over here in pre-sales. If you got questions about our product line and we're not doing a show, email hello@birddog.tv. There is a group of over 10 people that function out of that department, and they will help answer your question. And there are people in most global zones now that work in the pre-sales world. So you have questions about, like, hey, I'm thinking about buying 20 BirdDog plays, and here's what I want to do with them. Is it possible? Or what can and cannot this product do? Those questions before you buy something, shoot them an email at hello. If you buy after the fact and you have support questions like, hey, I can't get this thing to work, shoot us an email at hello, or at help. But hello is a great place to ask your pre-sales questions, to get some ideas to what's going to be required. They are a good group of guys over there that could give you a hand. So I can't speak highly enough. Is that right? Is that the right words? Whatever. They're great. And they're good. They're a good team of guys that really are interested in helping you get off to the right start. So hit up those dudes as well. Of course, you can always reach me, birddogjohn.tv. This is where I will be twice a week from 11 to 12. Feel free to join me. If you go to that channel, that's my my birddogjohn.tv YouTube page. That is where anything I do support related will eventually get posted there. So those videos about Netgear, like that actual session that we did, the 2-hour session, that's where that is posted. So anything that we try and produce out of here, out of this studio, will always go there, as well as some other destinations around the interwebs. So feel free to subscribe to my channel over there. Like 10 of you have in the past week. That's a huge, man, that means the world to me. I really appreciate it that you guys are doing that and you're sending people over there to subscribe to that channel, because it's a great resource. It's another free resource. We don't charge admission for this thing. So you can stay as long as you want, leave when you need to, and or just rewatch it. Go Webb wasn't able to be with us last Tuesday, and so he rewatched it after the fact. So all good stuff. Appreciate you guys coming along. Hey, I used to work at Apple, and I had more than my fair share of being dehumanized over the water-damaged iPhone. People need to learn to be respectful. Yeah, my line there is, it's not the compliment desk, right? So I don't expect people to like be super friendly or helpful, but yeah, respectful would be great. If we could all start there, that'd be good. No, we get it. Look, you're frustrated. You bought something, or you were using something, or you updated something. Now it's not working. Totally get it. Let's figure out a way to get it done right. We will need some time to do it. Maybe I should say this because, I'm going to keep eating this chocolate bar. I will say this. I've had 2 or 3 tickets in the past couple of weeks that have kind of got to my desk. And so I set up a time to log in, remote in, take a look at the situation, see what's going on. And I was like given like 5 minutes. And they're like, if you can't fix it in 5 minutes, we're returning it. I was like, well, hang on. This is not how support works. It's not how complicated network devices work. I can just like wave a magic wand and know all the answers about your install. So anyways, it was unfortunate, but those were tough ones, because it's almost like there's like, you come to support, but there's a lack of tolerance. And actually, to be honest with you, the model that BirdDog uses for support is almost foreign, because we actually want to support and fix the product for you that you have. We don't want to waste 2 weeks like getting it back, inspecting it, and then looking into the problem and fixing it, and shipping it back to you, or determining this and that, and then like sending you another one, having you send me that one, and then we got to figure out credits, or we got to figure out, did you even ship it, or we got to do this. It's like, stop. Let's just try and fix the one that you have. Like, we will try and fix, but big giant conglomerates, Samsung, Sony, Panasonic, all they do, oh, you got a problem, we'll just send you a new one, send us that one, and then it like gets lost. And so there are countless customers. I've talked to dozens of people, installers, who are like, oh yeah, I walk up on a project and there's like 6 cameras sitting in here, because they just keep emailing support saying, send us a new one, this one doesn't work, and then the customer never sends it back. And I was like, wow, that's really dishonest. Like, that's kind of scumbag type of thing, where you're just ripping people off because the support system is so big that it can't keep up and track all of that stuff. So it's unfortunate. One of the ways to do it, if you want to do like advanced replacement, which people have not been very receptive of when I say this, but one of the ways to do it is, okay, you want advanced replacement, we'll need a credit card form. And if we don't get this default, the product that's not working for you back within 15 days, we'll charge you for a new product on your credit card. And so then it gets into civil disputes and, oh no, we shipped it, it got lost in shipping and yada yada, like all that. Look, I'm going to do my best to fix the product that you currently have. And then it will come to me for inspection if needed, and then I'll determine what needs to happen. That framework, at least here in North America, it's pretty foreign, because big companies just, oh yeah, we'll just ship you a new one, and that's what people are now expecting. So it's a real odd one. I will not be logging in before 9. It's because you don't go to bed before 3. Can we discuss different types of setups, hardware, software based for NDI? Yeah, absolutely. On the next live show? Sure, but give me some framework. I mean, the options are endless, but we can definitely talk about it. Absolutely. Do you just mean like general, a production computer with NDI, how it integrates into? I'll give you my top two for 100%. I'll give you my top two if that's what you want to talk about. Yeah, let's set that up right now. If that's what you want, Go Web. You just say yay or nay to that. Hey, one last quick question. Is there a best practice guide for BirdDog devices? Yeah, it's right here. Come to my show twice a week. So no, there isn't. And there's an actual legit reason why. For several years, not anymore actually, but for several years, there was this thing in the NDI networking world that they used to just say, we don't want to do network configuration. We just want to create the endpoint. And that was BirdDog, but that was PTZ Optics, that was NewTek, everybody. They weren't going to talk about they weren't going to talk about how to get it going. They just were going to talk about using the products after they're set up, basically. So we're going to make the thing. We're not going to tell you how to set up the thing, which is where you got that language of like, it just works. It's like, would you buy a car if somebody came to you and said like, oh, you like that car? It just works. It's like, well, like you wouldn't ask, how does it work? What do you mean it just works? Like that doesn't, you don't make educated decisions based on the smoke and mirrors of a phrase like it just works. That's garbage. So I've changed the tune around here, at least from my support team, is like, we don't talk like that. We need to be a lot more specific about how it actually works and how it travels across the network and what we're kind of expecting. Because if you say something like it just works, that leaves it open to like, I can go and buy a $20 unmanaged switch that's a Netgear hub, not even a switch, and plug it in and it will just work. It will operate like a high performance video machine and like stop. So we don't do that anymore. So yeah, there's nothing published that's like best practices. Here's what you do. However, yet, I'll say it that way, yet. But I do a lot of these videos on here. And if you go to right now, it was actually just uploaded this morning. The highlights from my show on Tuesday about the Netgear 4250, like best practices with that. Those were all just uploaded. You'll see my face on the thumbnail, which they color corrected because the one I sent them had this like green glow on it. And then the picture on the thumbnail does not have the green glow. So that's sad. But anyways, it's not sad. It was just, they color corrected it. It's all good. They took the green out of the picture. But that's my rig, man. This is my setup, right? Like, look at this shot. Look at that. That's beautiful. Okay, so there isn't like an official one page or white page or whatever. However, I am also working on what I'm referring to as the education department or the education module for BirdDog, which is basically us teaching people how to use their stuff and how we expect it to be plugged in and giving some general pointers if you're new to NDI. So I'm developing that now. It got a little derailed because I had one guy that got sick and then he went on his honeymoon. I got another guy that got sick. Now I got another guy that's sick. And yeah, we're managing a bunch of things here. My one guy, Senseless, is now back. And so it's been noticed. The workload is substantially lower with him living and breathing again. So anyway, we are working on that to make that a reality. And I hope to be able to talk more about that late in the year. So stay tuned. Hit like and subscribe, people. Thank you, GoWeb. You are a great hype man. I appreciate that. Let's hit 1,000 subscribers. Only 900 more to go. I appreciate your ambition. That is noted. Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Tom +1 on the preset speed feature request. Yeah. And it's already over to my team. Let's see if I can come up with something here. Hang on one second. Okay, so my engineering buddy has come back and said, yep, it's already done with NDI 5. So that's cool. Do you want to know more? So the preset, the API command where you can program it on a button to set it to a speed level is apparently already done. And it looks like it's 1 through 18. Let me pull up that form again. So pan speed is 0 through 21. Tilt speed is 0 through 18. Zoom speed is 0 through 7. Preset speed. Preset speed 0 through 21. So in this document that he sent me, I don't know if it's officially on the website yet, but hang on. Let me just ask. He might be watching, so we'll see. Anyways, that's cool. If it's already done, then your wish has been granted, evidently. Yeah, it's there. So that would be pretty neat if it's already done. That was the fastest turnaround the engineer has ever been able to give me. That's amazing. Yep, already done. That calls for a celebration. That's good. Carlos 5. Pretty good. Oh. Yeah, this little USB switcher is pretty slick. Love it. All right. Let's see. Wow, did I actually... Oh, with vMix. Hang on. Is there a best practice guide for BirdDog devices with vMix? Oh, I see. No. If you were to ask vMix, they would just talk about NDI integration in a general sense, which for a lot of BirdDog is probably applicable. There's not really there's not really a best practices for BirdDog specifically. Truth be told, I only started using vMix like a month ago, and partially because I did an interview with Tom, and then he convinced me that vMix can do a lot of the things. For example, this playlist that's showing my different camera angles, that's all automatic. And so man, there's lots of stuff I should talk to you guys about. Anyways, these switches are done on a playlist so that it keeps you looking at something different every little while instead of just my mug that was the original show, just one camera on all the time. Well, now I have a video switcher and might as well let that switching happen automatically. So there it is. So the playlist feature was really what I came over here for. But then I started doing things like integrating NDI audio channels, and I started doing a little bit more with sound, and I started doing, you get your feet in, and you start digging a little bit. So vMix also does NDI out, and so now that I have two machines, I'm going out vMix 4 and going then over here and converting that to NDI webcam, converting that over to a USB signal so I can send that up to StreamYard. And the audio is also coming through the same channel. So, yeah, good times. That's funny. Shoot. So yeah, this little vMix setup is growing, and that's why on my Stream Deck I have a CPU usage meter, because I don't want to overdo it, but I'm humming along at about 50%. A couple of these camera shots you've noticed, like the P400 shot is low bandwidth, and so is the P100, which is above me. It's my desk shot. It's also low bandwidth, and that keeps the CPU in a respective. But this one, which is the 110 that's up there, that shot looks amazing, first of all. And it is running in full bandwidth at 1080p 5994. They all are. So good stuff there. Are they all? That 400 may not be running at 1080p. Let's find out. This next song. This and Bob's your uncle. Where's the 400? Configure this source. So this is running, yes, 1080p 5994. Okay. I was monkeying around with this camera yesterday, so I don't know if I had returned it to the same resolution. I think I did before I called it a day, but good stuff. So Tom says, let's go back to, oh, whoops, USB switch. I'm totally going to wear out that button. Totally worth $10 though. What is the API? I'm not seeing it in the documentation. I'm guessing it's preset speed sent from BirdDog PT setup. So yoink, it is. Yep, BirdDog PT setup get and post, and looks like there's a ptz.set or dash settings.json that's on this as well. But yes, PTZ BirdDog PTZ setup get in post, and then there's a pan speed, tilt speed, zoom speed, preset speed. Those are the commands. So, and then there's a value between those. Now I'm looking at like a little thing, and Pav's now laughing at me because I'm talking about this to him and then regurgitating it to you. So he's, yeah, that's how we do around here, man. Real time assistance, right? Oh, hey. So the stream, other question I have for you is the stream, is the video ahead or is the audio ahead? The audio is ahead. So I need to delay the audio. Okay. So back over to vMix, and let's see if I can sort out exactly how to delay this by a few threshold, yada, yada, yada. So not here. What about this audio channel? Can I do anything here? Gain delay. Here we go. Okay. Let's see if this is any better. Probably not. Let me reload YouTube. Oh, that's like dead on. Who called this? Oh, man. Yeah, somebody called this. I need to give credit where it's due. Clap test. I don't feel like that would... it definitely looks a lot nicer than it did 2 seconds ago. So I think we're close. I think we're close. The best practices with BirdDog devices is be patient. Trust the device, and if anything goes south, help at birddog.tv is always there to help you. Or also BirdDog John at TV or .tv. That is this support show, and I'm here twice a week to answer your questions and talk directly to evidently engineers who are also very helpful. So yeah, cool. Not just not on your website then. Okay. So maybe not. Now I'm like switching back and forth between computers like crazy. So what did Pav say? Love it. Okay, so yeah, it's just not on the website. So if you need to know the exact command, sync is fine. Do the clap test. Yeah, it looks good, I think. I think we have resolved the issue of the synchronization issue. So boom. That's lockstep, man. Love that. Sweet action. So the other problem that I have is, let me just finish out the 2 hours with this conversation, because this will be quick. So it won't be quick. This microphone does a great job in capturing the entirety of my vocal range. Okay, so when I talk, it's fantastic for that. I cannot hear my entire vocal range in this headset. However, my Audio-Technica headphones do a lot better. So when I record videos, I am using the headphones to listen to the audio after the fact, and it sounds pretty good. But what I'm interested in knowing from you guys is, oh, weird, that has the frameworks thing in focus, but not me. That's a shame. I need to look into that, actually, because that's a problem. What if I go ahead of this thing, focus on my hand, and then, yeah. Oh. Whoa, now I'm like all blurry. And over there it is. All right, cool. So now this looks a lot better. Yeah, a lot better. I thought I had autofocus off on that camera. Pretty sure I did because I didn't want to have that problem. Interesting. Okay, so anyway, this microphone is great and I love it. I think it's probably the best investment I made on this show. So fantastic. Love it. But what I would really like to know is from whatever it is that you're listening to this show on, are there any changes or improvements or whatever that are driving you crazy? I have the ability to bring in a processing channel that would basically be for like de-essing, low filter, high filter, compression, gate, a bunch of things, right? But I just don't think I need it. Like, are the S's really bad? The sibilants, are those really harsh and brutal to listen to, or does this handle it all right? Because I don't even really have much processing on this side, and the audio interface that I'm using here is really basic. And so it just literally takes the signal, powers the microphone, and turns it into USB and sends it over to the computer. Now, there's 4 channels, which is nice. And I'm using the headphone jack to monitor the show. But I'm not too sure if I need to make any audio changes. And after I had watched the Office Hours Global episode about audio, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before they did it, they basically just tuned everyone's microphones for Zoom. And I thought that was cool. They talked about what functionalities they had in studio, and then they were changing settings in their studio and on the Zoom app and seeing like what things did to each voice and going through and like cleaning everyone's audio. And I thought, man, I got to do that. So subscriber alert. Uh-oh, somebody joined. I really appreciate it, whoever that was. 128. We're on our way to 1,000. Good stuff. Thank you, whoever subscribed. Appreciate that. I'm going to get an email about that. We'll find out who you are. Good stuff. Yeah, we've had, I think, more than 10 subscribers in the past week. So my YouTube stats are all looking like they never have before. But come on over. Join me over at birddogjohn.tv. Subscribe to my show there and never miss an episode of this riveting content that you didn't know you needed in your life. All right, folks. Well, I am going to wrap it up because the day continues to trudge on and it is almost 1 o'clock, which means that there's a project that's going to go on. I think BirdDog is going to show up to Zoomtopia. So if anybody's going to that, you might see some guys over there. It won't be me, but you might see some guys over at Zoomtopia. And I would really like to figure out a way to get somebody from the show on this show. So it's, what is it, 8th and 9th of November? So what day is that? Let's take a peek at a calendar. Welcome to calendar. I've never opened calendar here. So 8th and 9th is in more than a week. It's 8th is a Tuesday, which is election day here in the US. 8th and 9th. So maybe we could do like either on the 8th, have somebody on, or on the 9th, do a special because Zoomtopia should cool off a fair bit on the 9th. So maybe we could do a special show and for 30 minutes and have somebody at Zoomtopia talk to us about what's going on over there. But I do know that somebody's planning on being there. So good times. All right. So I will, I'll keep my eyes open for that. And we'll make an announcement if we have whatever the plan is. It'll obviously be put up on my YouTube page as a pre-show so that you guys will know when that is going to be. Oh, your wife followed. Oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, we got the whole family following now. How many more kids do you got? Can we get them YouTube accounts and get them to subscribe as well? Oh, by the way, on the change your username thing, YouTube is rolling out a new feature so you can do it sooner. Yeah, I got an email about hashtags or whatever it is. My other YouTube channel, for those of you who didn't know, which I don't really use very much anymore. I used to do like product reviews and whatever, but everybody's doing that. That other channel got it like right away. It was like one of the first. I got it like 2 weeks ago. And so I already did it over there, but I keep checking here and it keeps saying, yeah, you can't do that while we update our system. So please wait. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'll check again today. But there's that. If you're yes, YouTube is changing its things mostly because there's a lot of people leaving YouTube. So that's probably why they're rolling a little bit differently these days. But we're on there, and we're on 2 different YouTube channels there. I'm on Twitch, I'm on LinkedIn, and then I've got 3 pipes out to Facebook. So join us whenever you can on Tuesday, Thursdays from 11 to 12. And we will definitely try and answer all of your NDI support questions. And if I don't know, I'll try to find somebody that does. So I'll send a shout out to my friends from industry to subscribe. Let's get 150 before next live. Wow, that would be impressive. Yeah, hey, if you have any friends that would like to follow along with BirdDog, have them subscribe to birddogjohn.tv, and be happy to have them along for the ride. The more, the merrier. Be sure to reach out to us at help@birddog.tv. That's where you can find us when we're not doing a live show. We are happy to assist whenever we can, and I've got a group of guys that monitor that desk that do a great job. Also, the guys over at hello@birddog.tv. They're our pre-sales team. So if you have questions about the products that you haven't purchased yet, but you want to know more, you want to learn more, boom, hit these guys up. They can definitely give you a hand. And of course, my show from 11 to 12 here on birddogjohn.tv. We do this twice a week to be accessible for audiences across the world. And so if you're at all able, join us over here and twice a week and come along for the ride. It's a lot of fun. Otherwise, I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great start to the week. Start to the week? Or is it the end? Oh, it's Thursday. I hope you're having a great end of the week. Yikes. I know I am. Right, it's Thursday. Yesterday was Wednesday. Got it. Clear. Yeah, I know my week's flying by, so hopefully yours is too. And we will check in with you guys next week. I don't know what the show will be on Tuesday, but whenever I figure that out, I'll post the pre-show up there, and you guys can click the notify me button on YouTube, and they'll let you know when we go live, or just plan to synchronize your watches to 11 o'clock on Tuesday, Thursdays, and we will hang out together. Be good to each other. Take care of each other. This weekend, hopefully you'll get a little bit of rest, and we will go from there. Cheers, guys. Always great to be with you. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Kids, you tried your best, and you failed miserably. The lesson is, never